All right, we're recording, and somehow it says we've been recording for 35 seconds, and it has not at all been 35 seconds. But on any case, I am back, and today's episode has a returning guest and a guy that's become a real good friend over the short number of years we've known each other. And I got to say, I'm getting sick of him. No,
He's a
but
douchebag. You got to watch
I have
out for him.
yeah. Gotta watch out for this guy. But I
He's a
am talking
pesky little
about
rascal.
Patrick McElravy. I think I said that last name
So,
wrong.
so let me get this straight. We didn't botch the intro. You did good on the intro. You just botched the name. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's all fair
But
play.
that
It's a
being
hard last name
said,
to be fair.
Seethe is back and he's got some news to cover.
How we doing today, Will?
Man, good. A little bit worse for wear just because sleep has been funny lately and work is working my ass off. Uh, but besides that, man, I think overall, not a lot to complain about. How about you?
Listen, I'm just glad we were able to get to this point where I was able to map out the time difference between the two of us.
Boy,
Yeah,
yeah,
I felt so bad because once I realized how far ahead of you I was like, oh, it's super early over there. This poor guy's dealing with my neurotic ass.
man, if it helps, I think all like 3 to 4 times we've done this, that's kind of been the way it went. Just because
Every time.
if
Every
it
time.
wasn't you, it was me that was getting the timing off, or something coming up, or so we push it out later into the day, or we just didn't do it at all. Such is the case for this. We were going to do this, I think, last weekend or something like that,
Yeah, it's something like that.
and I think it was my end. I had an overtime shift or something like that came my way, but today was going to be different. No matter what it took, I was going to find the opening and get it done. So that's why we're here.
And we did.
I don't know where you want to jump into it, but I guess let's talk about what's been released in news so far over the past course of the last few months.
Awesome.
And
Yeah, no, it's been a crazy year because the start of the year, like I took a social media break. I was burnt out. I was done. I felt like a puppet. I was just like, why am I on here every day? Why am I doing this? So I had an album I wanted to record. And the way my situation is, I can only record when it's cool out. You know what I mean? So the attic, because that's where I record is the attic. So I was like, okay, I got this January to May. That's my window. I had everything all written. And then just the way, I mean, life, shit, whenever you and I first met, like, how old's the podcast now? 3 years?
almost 3 years, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, 3 years ago, I was performing, I was trying to tour and do this and that, where now I'm not doing shows. I haven't done shows in 2 years now at this point. But just my life's different. Situations with my children and whatnot, they're getting older, and I'm a very active parent. My wife and I both are, so like, we're growing up, our situations change, you know what I mean? So I recorded this album on my days off in like 1.5 to 2 hour spurts when I could during the week, whenever all the kids were. I would get up and wake up enough to the point where my voice wasn't, super. So I go up, I try to get in a session, and then that'd be it until the next. So it was done in short spurts over a period of 5 months, and I'm pretty proud with how everything's come out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We're done now. We're back on the social media game. We're just dropping singles now and just trying to push this out and trying to get everyone to hear it. So, but so far we've released Courtiers and the newest single, Critique. They're out now, and then we have a new single coming out at the end of the month.
Yes, you do. I almost said we like I was part of it. The secret's out. I secretly want to be in Seethe.
You know what's bad? I get upset because I state a lot of times in interviews and stuff that I'm a solo artist, but I always say we. There's no we. It's just me.
Probably
So,
because of your team that you have, you know,
yes, that's
that would
true
be
too.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that would be
But
accurate to say. And I think
yeah,
the reason why I might have went and almost said we is because I feel that attached to the music most likely is the case.
that's
So,
a big up, my friend. Thank you very much for that
yeah.
compliment.
Well,
I
you
don't
know
take
how it's
that
always
lightly.
been. You know how it's always been with me and you. Like
Yeah,
even back when we were doing like the trap, trippy, like glitchy stuff back in the day, you know, even that spoke to me in its own way, even though it was the bizarro side of you in a lot of ways. But um, just you already know this. I definitely prefer the new metal. Like that's just my
oh
bread and
yeah,
butter genre.
tenfold.
It always has been.
Well,
Like
it's funny because I just did an interview with Breathe the Core magazine, and that was
yeah,
something they asked me. I was like, I can't even listen to my old stuff anymore. Like, the furthest I can go back without cringing my material was the end of 2024, whenever I
oh
put
yeah,
out Grayscale Recollections. That was like my first, like, real foray from the trap metal going over to the actual, like, rock and alternative metal. And you know what I mean? Where I'm at
yes,
today.
very much.
And I think that was an important time for me to, experiment. I think I did a lot of really cool stuff within that genre, but I kind of got the most I could out of it, and it came to a point where it's like, like I need to expand my horizons. And that's the beauty of where I'm at now. There's like the album that I'm working on and that I'm pushing now, it's still heavy, but it's more melodic. But like my next release, I could be absolutely crazy heavy and just do whatever I want. That's the beauty behind it. So just kind of
Well, I
seeing
mean,
where the inspiration and the stars go for the next, album, when it stands beginning of 2027 when I start recording and writing again.
well, I
We'll
mean,
see where that road goes. But
somewhere special, I'm sure, man. You've always got something that you've gone through or something that you reach back and pull from to write from and then pull out your voice and make it work to convey. Um, dude, you like if you knew how often I'm listening to a song that you put out that I have moments where I have to pause the song because I feel like I'm getting too emotional listening to it. And you know how that's like the beauty of music. Even if you didn't go through what you are feeling like something is about, um, you get in it, and you get in it sometimes deep, and sometimes maybe a little too deep. Like we're almost in a way you're inserting yourself into that experience that the song's talking about. You know?
I love whenever you do that and you get that goosebump feeling,
Yeah,
that
yeah, and
full
the
body
hair.
shiver that just happens, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
whoa, and you're just wrapped up in it, and you're in the zone, and you're tuned and locked in. That's the beauty in it. That's the place I love to exist.
and like I'm sitting here, I have all this stuff that I want to say, but I'm like, okay, what can I even say? Because I know things about what you have coming, and it's like it's difficult for me to not like just let
Spoiler
something
alert.
slip, right? But okay, let's see here. Um, it's special. It's special what's coming, right? It's something that I think is probably some of the most personal from you
Very, very much.
and
This
most
this was an album.
like the
This is like that project that I'll say it like this. It's an album that I always wanted to record. Um, it's the vision of an album I always wanted to record. It's an album that I can take and I feel I can show people. Like I can show my mom, my dad, somebody who doesn't, even if they don't like it, they can't help but respect it.
yeah,
Um,
100%.
I wanted to lock in because, like, for example, back whenever I really started getting into music was like seventh grade. And, I caught the bus at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was on the bus for an hour 15. So it's pitch black. I had my Walkman, and and that time in the morning was sacred to me, just
Dude.
to listen to music and vibe out and get my day started. And I wanted a record that was that for me. I wanted a record that, the bands like even bands that weren't mainstream, but they should have been bigger, but they never did. Like I wanted to make a record where people are like, wow, one, I got the feels, and two, how the hell has this not blown up? And I really took time to work on my craft, and not just necessarily my vocals and my vocal performance, but the crafting of the songs. I wanted to have hooks that were catchy, that, they get their hooks in and they stick, but without sacrificing any of the actual lyrical content, because that is as important to me as the actual song itself. I've never been one. I've always tried to avoiding the cheap and trite, metaphors and stuff.
Mm.
I try to be somewhat crafty and creative whenever I'm trying to portray the message that I'm trying to portray. But I, I feel it's perfectly imperfect, and I
No,
feel like this is the best material I've released today. I truly, like, every artist says that at a new drop, but like I feel like this is the starting point. If you want to get into Seethe, this is it. This is where to start here.
I think I would say that I'm probably there with you with that. I mean, Grayscale Recollections was another one where I thought, okay, so where does he go from here? Because that was also just like that review I did for, I believe it was it a, I think I did a video review for it where I just
Yes.
spoke on it,
Yep.
and like same thing with this. I'm like, wow, like how exactly is are you able to just take this, like imagine that you're freaking Marty McFly and you take the DeLorean, back to like 99 to like 2004 time frames, right? 2005 maybe. And you've got the bands, you got the Scrapes, you got the Switched, you got, Edema, you got, Static X, you got the early Seven Dust, which I believe I told you, I'm pretty sure it's Courtiers has the riff in it when it was sent. You sent it, and I heard it. That I believe I told you something about Seven Dust with that song.
Yes.
It,
Yes, you did. Yes.
it's
And
I
I
don't even
said a
know. I
lot of the
can't.
album has that Seven
Yeah,
Dust Static X kind of chunk to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't make the noise with my mouth that the guitar does in that song, but you know the riff I'm talking about. It's in between the
Da-da,
verses.
da-da,
It's like
da.
or something like yeah. I sound like a doofus, but dude, like you did the way that these songs pull from that era without like having it be just like this copy paste thing. Like it sounds like that period, but it's now. And
Yeah.
there's nothing about it that isn't the Seed identity, you know?
Well, that part of that goes to the producer, Jacob Lazzotti, the gentleman
Yeah.
who. And the thing is, like, I personally don't have a relationship or talk to this man. For me, and I'll say this too, there is no AI bullshit in this.
Never has been.
Like Jacob, for example, Jacob makes his music, he puts it in his store. I see it, I hear it, I like it, I buy it. That's what I do. He's a living, breathing human being that's doing this shit with his blood, sweat, and tears. And so, like with him, because a couple of these songs date back to 2024. Like Wishing Wells, for example, the very last
Mm,
song on the album is technically actually the first song written for the album. That you remember my song Postscript from last year?
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
those two songs I wrote. It was right whenever we went to Myrtle Beach for the first time. We were along the shoreline, and we had our condo. We had a beautiful view, and I was just scrolling, and I found Jacob's channel and all that, and I was like, I love this guy. This is gonna be the producer that I use. And Wishing Wells, for example, that was a song that took the longest. It was brutal, but I needed that time because I've grown a lot over 2 years vocally, and it was just one of them songs that it needed that time to ferment. until I could actually pull it out right. Where other ones, like for example, Critic Critique, that was like a flash in the pan, dude. I'm talking, when I say flash in the pan, back in February, we went out for we were out at a restaurant for my sister-in-law's birthday, and we all made our order. Everyone's kind of bullshitting, or they're just scrolling through their phones, and I got a notification that Jacob had dropped a new beat, and I listened to it, and dog, I had to leave, go to the bathroom. I listened to it, and I'm typing my ideas down, typing my, it's just rough notes, so I know whenever. Then a couple days later, wrote the rest of the song, and then when it came time for the session, it was just, it was like the universe. It was like getting shocked by lightning, and my fingertips and my vocals, they were where the exit points for that energy, and that's, we've said it multiple times already in this interview, but that is the beauty of music right there. 100%. So
100%, and that's why this AI garbage can never replace that. It's just not the same thing, and there's a very clear and tangible disconnect with it. With the way you go ahead.
thing, hot topic issue, obviously. AI, I have no issue with you using AI as a tool. Now, where in all you go with that as a quote unquote tool, that is subjective and up in the air. But I feel when it comes to the finished product, the end result, the blood, sweat, and tears need to actually be there more than, and especially on the lyrical front too, because I hate the fact that, oh man, like that pisses me off. Like, oh, I want to write a song about Chat GBT, and then you have a song. Like, no. Like, maybe if you're trying to figure out different lines and whatnot, I can maybe see that. But, and then the other thing too, like, I have no issue if you're somebody who is not musically inclined, and like you have a song in your head, like, I want to make this, and you do that, and you keep that for yourself. I have no gripes, no nothing about that. But if you're taking it and then you're putting it out as, oh, I'm so and so, and this is my song, but it's like you didn't do anything. Yeah, you typed in the prompt. Good for you. I can type in a fucking prompt too. So can my kid. That doesn't mean you made a song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that and in this industry, you got to understand, if you don't already know, you got to have thick skin. You got to know, because everyone's going to tell you, everyone's got an opinion on something. They're going to tell you, you need to do this. And
Yeah.
it's a push and pull dynamic. You got to be able to take criticism, but you got to be able to understand and know your own merit and worth, and whether you can pull something from that to actually use. And where was I going with that?
I think we're stemming off of AI and like maybe.
Oh yeah, no. So, but in what was the point that I said before that you got to have thick skin? Why was I saying you got to have thick skin?
I think if I was following what you were saying, because maybe if you don't, you're just it's not gonna get any place, or you're just gonna give up on it, or you're not gonna grow maybe, or you're not gonna,
I completely lost my. See, you're worried about you watching this interview. I'm over here midpoint, just completely blanking out on what the hell we were talking about.
I'm not even kidding you. Go ahead.
But the more, I guess what I'm saying is just, it's a gray area. And the thing is I see a lot of people too getting upset about the use of AI. But here's the thing, dog. It's in everything. All of your DAWs and everything. Now, like for me, for example, and a magician doesn't, if you want to call me that, a magician doesn't reveal his secrets, but I personally, for my setup, I don't have to worry about that. With people that are using all the latest DAWs, the plugins, AI is already in it. AI does it. Like, I guess as long as the human soul is still intact to it, I don't have an issue with it, but you have to have been involved. And no, I realized the point I was going at is because of issues like I just said with people typing in the prompt, making the song. like I get messages now like, yo, this is really cool, but is it AI? And like one part of my brain, I understand why they're asking me that, and I
The other
respect
part
that.
is like, how
The other
dare you?
part of me is like, fuck you. This is me. This is not AI. My blood, sweat, and tears went into tracking these vocals. The guy who did all the instruments did it himself with his fingertips, blood, sweat, and tears. There is no
Yeah,
AI in here. Leave that the fuck away from me. But I get why that question gets asked so much
yeah,
nowadays. But it's just everything is always the only thing that stays consistent is change. So
yeah.
it's just a matter of how we deal with it now and where it goes in the future and how we tackle it then and whatever changes come then.
It remains to be seen, and I hope it's not something that just completely destroys the integrity of music and the art of it as a whole. I don't think it will. There's people that won't allow it, and I'm one of those people that won't allow it. But I want to go and talk about courtiers. Let's talk about that track itself
Courtiers,
and the place it came from.
the place it come from.
Yeah,
Courtiers
just like
probably like when you really think about it, it's probably really the only positive song if it can be taken that way. Uh, Courtiers is very much a song about being in a situation, it's not working anymore. A change needs to happen to better yourself, and taking you and whoever, your crew, your band, your partner, whatever, and moving forward and doing whatever needs to be done, marching forward regardless. And that was one of them songs too. Like I heard it. It took me a minute to write the lyrics to it, but all the vocal cadences are pretty much the same as whenever. As soon as I heard that hook, I'm like, well, that's going to be the first single. And that's another one that honestly, the verses, I changed the lyrics in the verses a little bit when I was writing it, but for the most part, the hook and the bridge were just boom, they were locked in like that. That was a fun one to record, and that's that hook. I am so like when people ask, "Oh, so you're a musician?" I'm like, "Yeah," and then they
there
listen
you
and they're
go.
like, "Oh, that's legit." I'm like, "Thank you. I fucking know. I'm proud of that one. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you
Tell
should
your
be.
friends. Tell everybody about it." You know what I mean? It's that's the energy I had. That I hold for that song in particular. So, not to
Yeah.
sound cocky or arrogant or
No,
anything, but no, I was very,
it's
very
like
proud of that one whenever I put the pen to paper and got behind the mic on that one. That was a good one.
dude. It gets a
It also
certain
scratches a lot of like it because it's heavy. It has parts where it's really, really heavy, but also like it's very open.
yeah.
And you know what I mean? And I was able to kind of weave in and out and, kind of that was another thing too that because I'm a jack of all trades, master of none when it comes to vocals. I can scream, I can sing my ass off, but like I'm not a pretty singer. I was actually talking to my wife the other day. I was like, like I sing a lot, but like I can't do anything really pretty. But like a lot of vocalists that are more quirky, take for example, not that I can sing Mike Patton stuff, but like Serge Tankian, Mike Patton, early Incubus, the Apex theory, stuff like
Yeah.
that. They do a lot of quirky nuances with their voice and acrobatic. Like I can do that all day. That's my wheelhouse. But when you get somebody who does a lot of like, all even like, for example, Brandon Boyd from uh, Incubus, how he does like a lot of pretty vocal lines
Yeah.
and stuffs at the end of his phrasings. Like I can't do that shit. I fall flat on my face. So I kind of find my lane and I sort of stick to it. But I didn't want to be like, okay, this sounds like a Mudvayne part. What would Chad Gray do? Like I went into these songs and I was like, what would Patrick McElravy do? What would Patrick McElravy sound like singing this part? That was a big, big part. I wanted to find my identity on this record as a vocalist.
And I think you found it. I mean, I always thought that you had it before now, but I guess I guess it was the discovery of just all sides of it, maybe, and then where you could take it
Yeah.
and how you flex it and all that. Because so what do you have to say about if I like? Can I say song titles or can I just like?
You could say song titles. That's fine.
Well, so I've been wanting to talk about this one really bad because it's my favorite on it. Like it spoke to me the most. Next to
Okay.
courtiers and empathy, but say something. The Quiet Place. Like I wanted to push for you to have that be a single so bad because I think that song has such a like unique emotion in the vocals and then the lyrics and how you convey it. For me,
That's another interesting thing about this album too. Is normally I have people tell me like you should do that, and a lot of time, but people are very the few chosen few that I've given this thing to the everybody picks something different, which I think is pretty
really.
cool.
Huh.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean, we could talk about that one a little bit. What was it you wanted to know about that song?
Well, it wasn't so much wanting to know as it was just wanting to state that I think it's one of the most. So I want to say it's a beautiful track. The song has a lot of beauty to it, right?
Mhm.
But I also get a sense of a little bit of like maybe being at a point where you just felt like really down for some reason,
Oh, absolutely.
and you
That song
couldn't.
was kind of prophetic,
Yeah,
and because that song is about essentially something is there below the surface that you as an individual you need to get a handle on it. There's some work to do. There's some digging inside that you got to do to fix that. And that song in particular talks about knowing it's there, knowing you need to make them steps and them footsteps to make some shit happen to change for the better, but you're kind of stuck and you're just sitting
yeah.
there listening to your thoughts, the pros and cons, the back and forth. It's right before you make that plunge to do what the fuck you got to do.
And that's why it spoke to me so much. Like I'll I'll share with you off air the reason why because I don't want to say on air.
Okay.
But let's just say that it has to do with a very personal aspect of my life, and the reason why I gravitate so hard to that track in particular. Like at least for me, it's probably one of the most important songs you've put out
Okay.
that will be coming out. I should say.
See, reasons like this, what you're telling me here, that's why I do this shit, dude.
Yeah, it's
Don't get me wrong. The money, the fame, and all that would be nice. And it is nice. Not that I'm famous by any means or big by any means, but that you telling me that alone, that scratches the itch that I have that I'm waiting for wanting to get whenever I put something else out. So from me to you, thank you.
yeah,
And I'm
man.
glad that could help.
And hopefully it helps other people that not for my reason why I connect to it, but for their reason that they will connect to it. I think it'll help a lot of folks kind of find an answer or a direction to maybe doing something about what they might not be doing something about that they know is there, right? Because that's my situation almost to a T. What you said you wrote it for, like to a T.
Yeah.
But next critique. That's the next one.
Yes, sir.
So let's dive into that son of a gun because that's a kick-ass track too.
Oh, so well, like I said,
Spoke about it earlier.
that song was a flash in the pan, dude. It was fun though. That was a fun song to record. And the thing about that, it's mainly it's a middle finger to people who think their shit don't stink.
Yeah.
I live, and I'm not calling anybody out specifically, but like I live in a small town. I've been here for a while now. And it's one of them things like I'm kind of the odd guy out. I'm the weird metalhead vocalist guy that does the screaming on the block or in town, the one guy that throws shows and stuff. And you get kind of looked at for doing this versus just getting shit faced and playing cornhole. You know what I mean? Like, but to me, like I look at it and I'm like, why am I weird? Like I'm going out. I've legit met and played with celebrities and people who are musicians that have actually made it. I've done charity shows where we've raised money for
Yeah.
various causes and like, why am I weird? Like Gary, I'm out here being productive, doing some good with it, but I'm out here being productive, and you're just going to the bar and getting shit faced playing cornhole. I don't get it. And that's a lot of where that comes from, where that track that kind of fueled the rage for that. That was apparently weighing heavy on me whenever I wrote that song.
Dude, I feel it. Like I get so sick of these. I mean, to a point, there might be instances where I've probably done a little bit of that kind of thing, but not on purpose. You know what I mean? But when I see that going on, like just wherever it is, like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, people basically essentially talking out of their ass because they think they know about what they're talking about, but they don't. But they're just so convinced that they do know that they're basically trying to take you to school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was just recently there was a guy that DM'd me on my podcast page about I'm in a band, but I also wanted to see if I could give you some like pointers about maybe how you construct your interviews and blah 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 and stuff. I'm not shut off to that stuff. I take critique all the time. But he's like, because I think the way you're doing it is it's not going to get you anywhere. But I know a lot about it. I'm pretty much like an encyclopedia of knowledge for it. You need to listen to me. I can guide you and coach you. And I'm like, so I dug into it a little bit and stuff. And the more I dug into it, I only replied to him for just a short little few messages before I like, okay, I'm right about the kind of person this guy is. And he's basically telling me that I'm shit unless I listen to him. And when I heard, go ahead.
I was gonna say like that kind of ties into the song too, because here's the thing: they might be right. They could 100%, but in that situation though, it all goes back to how that is presented.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with somebody like that, and you might even find, I'm not saying this will be the case. Unfortunately, what happens a lot of cases with that is they are right. But sometimes hard lessons need to be learned harder.
Yeah.
But two, if you bring it up there's both sides. You know what I mean? That's a hard one. Yeah. No. I get it. My favorite thing is like when people come in and like, well, I've been doing this for 25 years, and I'm like, yeah, and you're still in the local bar. You know what I mean? Like you haven't opened up for anybody, you haven't toured, you haven't left your state, your town. You know what I'm saying? Just that kind of, but that goes into different goals and stuff too. You know what I'm saying? It's just, yeah, it goes back to before, just kind of knowing what to do with criticism, take it constructively, and deciding whether you can apply it to yourself or not.
Yeah. And in this case, just wrote the guy off because I'm not going to be inclined to listen when you're delivering your device in a smug tone, where it's condescending, and it's like, listen, buddy, I can tell. I said this to him. I said, I can tell you right now that I know that there's things that I can do better, but it's a learning curve. This is still technically pretty new what I'm doing, and I'm still figuring it out. But if you want to get my attention, you're not getting it with how you're going about it, you know. But it's the world is full of them, you know. It can be anything. How you bag your groceries, or how you dress yourself. It's just it doesn't apply to one thing for the critique and everything. So, but it's an awesome song. And what's been the overall like reception that you've gotten since putting out the songs?
Honestly, just both singles have done very, very good so far. For me, at least, with my normal numbers and stuff, things have been on the up. Uh, the feedback has been very positive. Um, yeah, and the thing too is like I'm very impatient. I'm a very, very, very impatient person. It's not my strong suit, but I look at the numbers of everything and I get down. But I
Mm,
have to remember though too, these numbers are higher than those last year when I was dropping a single. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit is going into it. So it's kind of one of them things like you need to enjoy the journey while you're in it and just enjoy the ride and the steady up versus just you know what I mean? Because I find too that whenever like when I'm locked in and I'm like pushing and pushing and like, oh, I got to do this, and a lot of times it don't go my way.
yeah.
I find a lot of times when I do it, I sit back and yeah, like I'm doing promo and whatever I do, but like a lot of times when I sit back and I don't overthink it, that's whenever the opportunity and stuff starts to come in. So just kind of sitting back and just letting it run its course and work its magic.
Yeah, I mean, I could I relate to that in a lot of different ways. Like
Yeah.
you're talking about numbers, right? So I have never been able to like have the same reach I had back. I don't. It was I think 2024. Might have been the beginning of 2025 when I took on Joe Graw from Inside the Trojan Horse, and that guy is a pretty known name outside of that band. For some reason, I can't remember what the name of his actual band was before that. They were pretty established. They did pretty good.
Mhm.
They're still around, but that got almost 4,000 views, and that's never been able to be replicated. And I have not done anything technically different from when I did that one. And I'm like, okay, so was it the name attached to the interview, or was it just how it was shared around? And
Well, it
like
could have
sometimes,
been the algorithm,
yeah, and like
all that. Yeah, there's
sometimes,
so many key factors at play. It's
yeah,
hard unless you're well, like actually well read in that stuff and completely understand the science behind it. It's pretty overwhelming to try and like sit
yeah.
there and think like, okay, what
Well,
did make that pop? What
I'm
was
not
the magic
exactly
ingredient there?
chasing it necessarily. Like I'm not agonizing like when I lay my head on my pillow at night, like, oh man, I want to hit big numbers again. Like that was really cool. It's a good feeling. I just go with the flow, and I always have, right? I don't really put a lot of weight and expectation on the podcast. I let it go about its way naturally, and I
Yeah.
think in a lot of ways, maybe that's how you do it with Seethe. Like you do get to those points where like I could take those numbers being a little bit higher, but for the most part, you're like, I'm just glad people are listening to it and
Yeah,
talking about it.
exactly. And and sometimes like you have to humble yourself and bring yourself back down, like because I'll be like, I haven't reached this goal. I set this goal, but I'm like, like it's more people than, like I said, it's more people than were listening a year ago, and I should really be fucking happy considering because it's so even in the short, we'll say 10 years I've been in the Pittsburgh music scene things have changed so
Mm,
much. So much. And unless you're up, like it's easy to get lost in the fucking curve, dude. Like I
yeah,
said, I just try to remember and I have to remember too, because like I said, my situation has changed. Without playing shows, I am solely relying on social media and the internet to help get me out there versus playing shows and getting my voice
mhm,
and face in front of people. So I kind of look at it now as these are the stepping stones to help put me at a better place whenever I'm able to get back to the stage. You know what I mean? For
yeah,
better
for sure.
opportunities and stuff. So
And
I try to look at it like that and try
yeah,
not to beat myself up and drive myself because you'll go crazy fighting over the numbers.
Yeah, it's something that I honestly don't think anybody should get so swept up in, because you lose yourself in it and you lose the point of why you're doing it.
Yep.
The point of it isn't because, or shouldn't solely be because of how much you get your name out there. That shouldn't be the only driving factor to
Well,
doing anything.
well, that's why I took a social media break, dude. Because, like, I got to a point where I was seeing people who are my peers, who are very talented, who are doing better things than me and deserve to be bigger. But, like, for the content, they're doing up, like, these crappy lip sync videos where they're not even in time. And it's just, and I'm like, why? Why are you doing that? Like, I understand why they're doing it, but it's like, why am I reduced to this? Why do I have to do this? Like, I don't know.
Come
It's a
on.
weird day and age, dude. I can tell I'm an old, like, call me Papa.
Yeah,
I don't care.
I get there
I'm
too.
just getting old. I can't
Like
get behind it. I look at it as I've fallen out of love with being a musician and fallen more in love with being an artist.
yeah,
If that makes any sense. With, I know, I'm sure it sounds pretentious as hell, but that's the truth behind it. I
how
just,
I take what you just said is that you fell in love a lot more with the process of making something, like creating the
yes,
song,
yes,
writing it, writing about what the experiences, and a lot less about being that guy, like with a guitar around his neck or standing in front of the mic. Like you love doing that, but you're a lot more focused on the creation side of it.
yes, yes. Thank
So
you for wording it that
yeah.
way. That was rather eloquent of you.
Well, I'm sometimes there, not always. But so moving on from critic critique, the next single that's going to come out. What's your hope for that one? Because it is a bit more of on the heavier side versus the two. I'm not going to say it's like batshit crazy heavy, but I feel like it's a bit heavier, a little bit more moody.
I feel it's a really good marriage between where I started at with Seethe and where I'm at currently,
Yeah,
because there is a lot more electronics involved in it, and the guitar kind of takes this seat in the back, but the guitar does show its, it grooves, and it gets your head bobbing and whatnot. And that was another one of them ones that I recorded. I didn't really write it. I had like the first half of it wrote how I, down concrete, but the second half I was like, we'll just, and some of it, like, I had notes, like very sparse notes, but it was very on the spot. It was very impromptu with what I was feeling. I do a vocal line and I'm like, oh, that was actually pretty okay. Okay, we'll
yeah.
keep that energy going. And, that was another one. It was, like I said, it was very open ended. I didn't have a particular end game in that. It was just kind of see what happens. And I honestly, I really didn't have high hopes for it, but it's become one of my favorite songs. So,
It gets your attention.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But between here and Delirium, that's the name of that song, and that'll be dropping everywhere August 29th.
And like, I can't wait for people to hear this. I don't know if I could say uh, where it falls on the overall track list of the upcoming full length, but I'm just gonna say that when it hits people's ears, they're gonna be like, "Where was this guy's head when he decided to go with this kind of sound?"
That's a heavy
That's
one
wrong.
on the lyrical side of things. There's a lot of ground
Yeah,
that's covered in that one. It's very
yeah.
much a song that coming of age, if you will. Sort of an impromptu thing had happened back in 2024. I had a friend of mine who he'd been in bands for years. He toured with like Norma Jean and stuff like that
Oh,
back in the day, and he was the band was going on tour again, and it was his first tour in a while. And he's a little older than me. He's a little older than me. But after the tour, he was like, "I think I can put the nail in this coffin on this, that I'm not like that into it." And I was like flabbergasted. I'm like, "Dog, how can you be like that?" you've worked so hard and you've got, but for me, as the years have gone on, fast forward 2 years later, like I'm like, I get it.
Kind of get it. Yeah.
I get it. And
Yeah.
it looks at multiple things like, okay, I am this age and I'm at this point in my life. Is this where I need to be? Is this, have I accomplished what I should? Am I being the person that I need to be? And then you put the shoe on the other foot, like uh we all obviously have free will, but like predestination, is it a legit thing? You know, if I'm looking at this and the end result, if it is what is what I'm doing now going to actually change the result of my future? Or is it already determined? I'm just along for the ride. Yeah, it's a pretty,
Yeah, it's
you
kind of
know what I
neat.
mean?
Yeah.
It just really kind of makes you like, hmm, hmm.
The kind of thoughts I have when I'm laying down at night when it's not having to do with my kid or my job or money or just responsibilities and stuff. Like I'll notice my mind's starting to go down the route of I wonder if anything ever stands outside my window that I sleep by at night and watches me sleep. Some weird shit like that, like
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, it's
But
just them weird kind of dark thoughts that creep in and they
yeah,
just hover and they nag and nag and nag. And
yeah,
so yeah, that's the happy shit that I write about.
man, you're just like
But
a
it's
freaking
important, but
skunk.
it's important because like, a lot of times we all think, we're all in the ruts of whatever we're going through or dealing with that's on our plate at whatever point in life. And it feels unique. It feels like, nobody, but then you come to realize like everybody does feel this stuff. Other people do understand how I feel. This, you know what I mean? There's a certain
Yeah,
comfort in that.
yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's the new single Between Here and Delirium in a nutshell.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for people to hear it. I'm excited for them to hear the whole thing, the full length. It's
I
quite a
appreciate that,
journey,
brother. Thank you.
dude. Like, and I meant every word that I sent you in that video that got you all cross-eyed. Uh, you know the one.
If you only
That's
knew,
hard to
I
fit.
wish you could have been a fly on, because like I'd be sitting there watching that and I'm trying to listen. And but like the visual, because there's like a wall of you, and I'm
Yeah, and
like,
you're like, which one is it synced to?
yeah, I'm just like, so I would have to like put it down. And then finally I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hit play, but I'm just gonna flip the phone over and I'm just gonna listen to the video
Yeah,
without
that
actually
way
watching it.
you can actually hear what I'm saying. What's funny is like I'll be honest with you, I picked that effect on there on purpose because I knew that you'd look at that and go, "How am I supposed to focus when you're all over the freaking screen?" Nothing's really
Uh,
synced up, and it's just like I don't know how many different small little freaking
there was
windows
like
are in the
10,
word.
there was like 10, there was like 100 of you on the screen. There was like 10 across and then 10 down. It was something like that. It
Yeah,
was trippier than hell. I was
like
like,
I
holy
don't know if
crap.
you plan on like stitching those together and like putting it out on Seethe page for like a video for people to watch for a review or anything, but um, I'm curious to know what people might do if they go. They probably say something to the effect of, "I couldn't watch it," and I wouldn't blame them. But I could do a proper one at some point for the whole thing again. That's not like this weird ass freaking
We'll
acid
cross we'll
trip
cross
effect
that
or
bridge
whatever.
down the road when we get to it.
Yeah,
We're just trying to get through day-to-day life right now, baby.
yeah. But dude, before we wrap this up, what's your hope that like the biggest takeaway you want people to get from the entire full length when it's out?
I want people to get them goosebumps. That's what I'm going for, dude. I want, because the record, we live in a day and age where everything has pretty much been done. Now, I say that and somebody tomorrow might come up with something crazy unique, which awesome, we need it. But I wanted I just want to be able the people that do indulge in it and enjoy it, they feel they got their full, they got the substance in there. I want them
Yeah.
not walking away being like, oh, this is just another mediocre new metal record. No, like I take for example bands. I'll name a bunch of bands that were kind of popular, but they never really broke through. Alien Ant Farm,
Trust Company.
Trust Company,
To
the
a point.
Apex Theory. That's another big one for me. I don't understand how that record. The Apex Theory. That's
They blame
as a
Linkin Park.
guitar player, that record blows my mind because people don't understand how hard and technical that album is on guitar. It's not crazy shreddy, but he does so much cool, very,
I
very
agree.
nuanced, very has to be dead on to make that happen the way it happens. We'll go with another. Let's see. We'll go a more obscure one. A Thousand Shades of Cold. You ever heard of them?
Yeah, I think I have their album,
Okay.
the music. Yeah.
Even like Scrape, for example. Scrape's popular now, but like back in the day, everyone was like, "Oh, just another new." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want people to listen and hear the substance and be able to actually be their belly be full after listening to it. That's the main thing I want, that I strive for.
And if I could add to that, I just want to just speaking to the people, the Seethe Nation, that just be prepared for a lot of very earnest, like cathartic music, because it's therapeutic in a lot of ways. Like, of course, we didn't write the music, we didn't sing it, but it's going to take you there. There's going to be plenty on there that you'll connect with. I 100% will say that without any doubt in my mind that it definitely is the best that's yet to come, since it's not out yet.
Thank you.
100% say that that's true. I told you in a message that I don't think there's anybody that's doing that, the new metal, like nostalgia kind of thing as well. There's just nothing that's really connected with me in quite the same way and in quite the same level. So that's what people have to look forward to when this thing drops.
Thank you very much for that, Will.
100%.
That's some very, very, very high praise. Thank you.
Yeah. But with that said, dude, like before I get going, because my wife's trying to rush me along to get the package at my folks' front porch. Porch pirates, she's afraid of that. What else would you want to add before we wrap this up?
Just thank you guys very much for listening and tuning in, and shout out to all the podcasters like Will, the bloggers that are help keeping us small guys afloat and helping us get it.
JT needs to come back.
JT does need to come back.
He needs to come back.
Hopefully he will eventually, because he had some good things going on his podcast.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on behind the scenes for the reason why he has.
Yes. That was absolutely heartbreaking. That's the one thing that sucks about having friends like you guys and being the whole way on the other side of the country, is when shit like that goes down. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But no, just we live in a day and age now more than ever where if you, like us independent artists, we need that support.
Yeah.
Check random people's stuff out that you know while you're doom scrolling. Check them out. Give them a chance.
Yeah, you never know what you
share. A comment. It's all free. I know I sound like a cringy broken record saying that stuff, but
it's true.
Support independent artists, music, art, whatever, and just thank you. I can't even stress that enough. Thank you.
You're always welcome. But yeah, everybody, full length is coming very soon. What we're speaking about. I'm very excited for it to reach everybody. And yeah, dude, just always have a load of fun when I bring you on here and we chat. We got a lot in common with our lives outside of this, that, just I'm talking to a friend. I'm not talking to a colleague, even though technically we can say we're colleagues, but we're, you're a pal. You're a homie.
Likewise, my friend.
That's what this is. This is the same thing as talking on the phone.
Yeah.
only it's just me supporting a homie. You know what I mean? So, yeah, everybody, please go check out Courtiers and Critique, the two that are out currently. Get ready for the next one. I'm going to just shorten it and call it Delirium because for some reason the title, I don't remember every freaking word in it. That's going to be dropping on, you said, the 28th, I believe.
Yeah, 29th.
29th. I knew I was going to get
August
the day wrong.
29th.
The 29th.
Yep. Saturday, August 29th.
And please, if you don't know Seethe already, which you should if this is the kind of music that you listen to, please go check out Seethe, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Everything's up there, man. Just check it out. Give them some love and support. And just let them know personally, DM them. Let them know how a song connected with you. That goes a long way. Trust me. So, yeah, we will be back with Seethe again once this thing drops. I'm going to bring this guy back to talk about it in depth. I promise you that. Thanks for hanging out, my friend. I will let you go.
Thanks for having me as always,
well.
Will. It's always a great time getting to catch up with you and BS with you.
Likewise, my friend. Everyone take care.
All right, you too, bud. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.